Hello everyone, welcome to another video. I know it's been a little while for those who are watching in real time, which I don't know if there is anybody doing that anymore, or if there ever was, but I think there was at some point. But anyway, so yeah, some might see a strange comment for those who are binge watching this later. I don't know why, I just imagine people will binge watch my videos because that's just usually how, if I do end up finding a YouTube channel that I want to watch, I usually watch like a bunch of the videos in a row. So anyway, yeah, so I haven't done the end of the last semester update or the new semester update. So I'm gonna do that now and also give another kind of insight that I've had about just doing a dissertation in general and some thoughts about that. So last semester I was doing social network analysis class, and so I learned a lot of methods with Gephi and how to use that. I did a project that it had some interesting turnout, but for the most part it didn't really come off the way that I thought it would, and it kind of also sucked in a lot of my time last semester. So it was good to learn the methodology, but I probably didn't end up using it as productively as I had hoped. But you know, you live and learn, and it did have some productive things for me that I can help think through and know for using for the future in my dissertation. I did also go to a conference last semester in December that was called Medievalist Design Games. So that was a very fun conference. Basically, I helped design a medieval themed board game. That was what each of the participants broke into a few different groups, and we had famous game designers there, or I don't know that any game designer is really famous, but you know, well known within the industry game designers who designed a few games that people might have heard of, like the designer of Root was there, and that was mainly the one that I had known more. But yeah, so that was fun, and we just made prototypes of the games, so who knows if we'll ever move forward with any of those. But that was a good experience. But again, another thing that kind of distracted or took away from the end of the semester, at least in terms of progressing in my dissertation. Yeah, so then moving on to this semester, I'm mostly just doing dissertation research with one conference at least going forward, and a few other trips as well that I'll probably just, if I put them on the YouTube channel, I'll have other videos for them, so I won't go into them now. And yes, and then one class on Count Zosimus and his new history, as it was called back then, which just more meant a like contemporary history. Of course, the ironic thing is he didn't actually finish the history, it seems like, so he never actually got to the contemporary part. He only had mostly the background part, you know, the part of history that had all happened before he was alive. So it's kind of a funny instance there. But I also have another video that I did a little passage from that already. And yeah, so that's going to be this semester, mostly just doing my dissertation. So speaking of the dissertation, I realized that a dissertation is a lot like a board game in the sense that you have the objective from the start, but there's a lot of different pathways to get to that objective, and you don't necessarily know what order to do the actions in most effectively. So, for example, I've read some primary sources, but then I've gone back to secondary sources. And if anyone doesn't know the difference between primary and secondary sources, just put a question in the comments or something. I can make a whole video about that. It pretty quickly explain it. But so going back between these different types of sources, more scholarly ones, more ones from the ancient times, and trying to balance, okay, so if I've learned this piece of information here, where do I go from there? And in order to make a productive dissertation, an interesting dissertation, one that won't like be soul crushing. My main problem was my ideas just keep expanding because I see things as very connected a lot of the time. And so it's sometimes hard for me to be like, well, I can't stop here with this subject. For example, looking into the ideas of identity when thinking about my dissertation with maritime communities and sailors and the daily life of a sailor, I'm like, well, of course, part of your daily life is considering, or at least an influence in your daily life is your identity. So I need to figure out what identity meant for these people. But that would be a whole dissertation in itself. So through different conversations I've had in the last week or so, I'm probably going to only bring that in toward the end if I do, instead of trying to make my argument about identity. So that's really the key, is what are you actually arguing about versus what are you drawing from but not really making a contribution to, in a sense. So that's where it's very tricky to find out, like, okay, so to put it in board game analogy, it's like, okay, I have these options to do on my turn, and if I do this one, it will enable me to do maybe 2 different options on my next turn. But do I need to do either of those 2 options on my next turn? Does that actually get me closer to the eventual goal? But also, you know, dissertations are a little bit more like a game that has multiple scoring methods, right? It's not just whoever crosses the finish line first. It's, okay, well, I need to score points in this category, in this category, in this category. How can I make it to the biggest total? But also, you know, it's also kind of like a sort of resource management, because you only have so much time and you only have so much space to write within before it becomes just completely unwieldy, and you really are better off writing a book, which was where mine was going. It was really going to be just too long with the ideas as I was currently trying to include what I thought, everything that was relevant, right? So yeah, so that's how a dissertation is like a board game. If you want more details on that, or more specific ideas or comparisons with actual examples, I can go through that too. But since this is just more the semester update videos, a kind of a 2-for-1 here as well, with kind of end of last semester, beginning of this semester. So yeah, so that's what I've got right now. Taking suggestions for other videos. I had another video. Part of the reason I didn't put up another video in the last couple of months is I had another idea that I tried, but it didn't really pan out for a video. But it was on the show Ninjago, if you know that show. It's the, I think, 15-year anniversary here in 2026. So yeah, so if you want more of that content, or any of the content I've randomly mentioned across this whole, what we're going on like 8 minutes now. So yeah. But thanks for watching, for those who watched. I also am planning on, I've also been kind of working more on some of my other material. That's also why I haven't posted, but hopefully I'll get another video out along those lines pretty soon. So yeah, so thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you like it, and if you want to be subscribed. Otherwise, I would say, you know, don't bother. But yeah, I just hope everyone out there enjoyed my rambling for a few minutes, or at least it was a good distraction while you're doing something else, if you just needed background noise. So see everyone next time.